Okay, what is the multiple entry Schengen visa, or how different is the multiple entry Schengen visa from the single entry? So in today's video, I am going to take you through the differences between the multiple entry Schengen visa and the single entry. So if you are interested, keep watching. It's a question I got when I posted the previous video about how to apply for a Schengen visa, or how I got my Schengen multiple entry visa in less than a week. Loads of people came under the comment section and on my Instagram page to send me messages, and this is one of the questions that really popped up. So Schengen area is a group of 27 countries in Europe that have abolished border controls between them. Okay, so what this means is that if you have a Schengen visa from one country, you can travel to all of the other countries in the Schengen area without having to apply for a separate visa for each country. So there are three types of this kind of visa. Okay, under the short-term visa, that is the tourist visa, they've got the single entry, the dual entry, and then the multiple entry, right? So I'm going to take you through each of them so that you know what each of them stands for when you are applying for your visa, and why you should go for the multiple entry. Okay, now let's go through this illustration. I'm going to try my best to explain it for you to understand. Okay, all right, so we are starting with a single entry Schengen visa. What that means is, let's say you are here in the UK, so we are using that as you be in the UK. Okay, wherever you are, you can put that in. So that is where you are at the moment, and you are traveling to France. Okay, you applied for the Schengen visa and France granted you the visa, so you are heading to France. So you move from here to France, so that is France up there. Now when you go to France, you are like, oh no, I still have some days to spare, so I want to go to Portugal. Okay, so you move from France to Portugal, and from Portugal you then decided to go to, let's say, Switzerland. Okay, then you came to Switzerland. Now that you go to Switzerland, you decided to come back to the UK. Okay, so you came back to your country, right? Now that you've come to your country, what it means is that, let's say after a week or two, you now decided that you want to go back to France. Okay, because you've got a Schengen visa from France, you want to go back to France. Now this is where the case is, because you've left this area, the Schengen area. When you go to Switzerland, you left Switzerland to UK. Now if you want to move from UK back to France with a single entry, you need to apply for another visa for you to have access into that country. I hope you understand. Are you getting the whole gist? Okay, so with a single entry, as soon as you leave the Schengen area or the Schengen zone, you can't go in without applying for another visa. So you need another visa to be granted access into the country, and its validity is for 90 days. So if they give you 90 days, which some of them don't do, they might give you the exact dates you've applied for, but others, the maximum on the single entry is 90 days. Okay, so you've got 90 days. It means when you go to France and you want to visit all other countries, you have the opportunity to do so, but you can't leave the Schengen zone to your country and then go back into the Schengen zone again. If you want to go back to the Schengen zone, you need to apply for another visa. I hope that is clear. So that is the single entry. Now let's go to the dual entry, which is the double entry. So I'm going to still use the same illustration, the one I used for the single entry. I'm going to use it for the dual entry. So with the dual entry, what it means is that if you leave the UK and then you go to France, from France you go to, let's say, Portugal again. Then from Portugal you decided to come to UK. So you left the Schengen zone, you left the Schengen area, okay, and you came to the UK. Now that you are in your country, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, you are like, oh, you still got time on your visa, so you want to go to Switzerland. So you move again from the UK back to Switzerland. So when you move from the UK to Switzerland, because you've got a dual entry, you applied for the dual entry, even though you left the Schengen area and you came home, you can still go to another zone again. I hope you understand. So that is it. And then when you get there, you can equally do what you've done earlier. You can move from Switzerland to, let's say, Iceland, or from Iceland to Spain. So you can do whatever you want to do. I hope that is clear. So that is for the dual entry or the double entry. With the double entry, as you come out from the Schengen zone, you still have the opportunity to enter another Schengen area with the same visa, provided it hasn't expired. You understand? Okay. Now let's move to the third one, which is my favorite. And you will see why you have to go for the multiple entry. So let's have a look at it. Right, so this is the multi-entry, okay? It's the multi-entry. And what the multi-entry means is just with the same illustration we did earlier, okay? Have a look at something. So still we are using the UK. And now from the UK, I applied for a Spain visa. So Spain granted me the visa, okay, which is a multiple entry visa. What it means is that when I move from here to Spain, and then I spend, say, 2 weeks in Spain. 2 weeks in Spain, okay? Then after that 2 weeks, I decided to go to Iceland. All right? I decided to go to Iceland. Then when I go to Iceland for a week, I now came back to the UK. So I've left the Schengen area, okay? Now that I've come to the UK, then after a month, I'm like, I want to go to Portugal. So I move from here to Portugal. The multiple entry will give me that access to go to Portugal without applying for another visa. So I now go to Portugal. From Portugal, I visit, say, I go back to Spain again. Then from Spain, I come back to the UK. Okay? Then 2 weeks later, I now decided to go to Switzerland. So from the UK to Switzerland. Now that I've got to Switzerland, if I'm moving from the UK still on that multiple entry, I still doesn't have to go and apply for a visa, because that visa is still valid to enter the Schengen zone, okay? Even though I've come out in and out of it, I still have access to go to another country without applying for the visa, okay? So now from Switzerland, I decide to go to Austria. Then from Austria, I come back to the UK again, okay? Come back to the UK. And then after, let's say, few days later, I now decided to go to Germany. So from UK to Germany, again, I don't need to apply for a visa. So if you look at it, I've gone in and out of the Schengen zone several times or multiple times without needing to apply for another visa. You understand? The only thing you need to take note of the multiple entry is that anytime you enter a particular area or zone, you've got 90 days. So the only thing is that you have to pay attention to the number of days they've given you on that multiple entry, whether it is 6 months validity, it is a year validity, or it is 2 years validity. You need to pay attention to it. Apart from the validity of the visa, you can equally move in and out of any of the Schengen area without applying for a new visa. I hope I have been able to explain this into details for you and not to confuse you. Okay? Right. So that is all what I've got to tell you about the differences between the visa types, so that when you're applying for it, you know what to go for. Okay? And the point is, if multiple entry can give me this opportunity and I'm paying for the same visa fee, why then will I go and select single entry when I'm filling the form? So yeah, with this understanding, let me know in the comment section if you will still go and select a single entry instead of going in for the multiple entry, knowing very well that you are paying for the same fee. Like you are not being charged for choosing a multiple entry. You let me know what you think. On that note, I would like to say a very big thank you to all of you for the love you've showed on the previous video, the comments and then the likes and all that. I really appreciate it. Okay, and those of you who haven't watched the video yet, you need to go and watch it so that it will give you some basic understanding when you're applying for your visa someday. Yeah, you might not know. Okay, just give it a go. Watch that video. I'll leave the link in this video or the description box for you to go have a watch. Right, so if you've enjoyed this video, I would like you to watch this next video where I talk about some tips to guide you in your solo travel and all that. Okay, until I see you again, peace out.
Then I'm fed but I rock it like a baby in the car. I put the water in the ocean in the city that I'm from.